Everybody, what's going down? How are you guys? I haven't done a video in a couple weeks. Live has been a couple weeks ago as well. Sorry about that, guys. I needed a break. I have just been absolutely worn out, beat, run down, and just haven't had the energy. So I just needed a break for a little bit. Tonight's topic is what I have. We're going to talk about our sexual energy. It's very important. It's very, very important. I know I touched on it briefly in one of my videos, but it's always good to talk about it live. Hi, Maria. How are you, hon? Good for your cold plunge. I just got out of the shower. Been busy doing a lot of job interviews, guys, and I have another good job interview coming up on Tuesday for counseling, servicing others. I mean, what better way? So hopefully, that goes well. But as again, I fear nothing. So, how's everybody doing? I mean, seriously, welcome. Come on in. Grab a cup of coffee or tea, sit down, relax, ask me some questions. So, today I've been working with someone on a regular basis, and one of their problems is one of their partners has a sexual problem. I'm not going to talk about who that is, but I think it's important to talk about once again to revisit our sexual energy. It has been given to us by our Father, by God, all that is. And seeing how we are all one, meaning God is, we are all God. Or in plural, we're all gods. It is a divine gift from our Father. It is not to be misconstrued as anything else other than that. I don't care what the church says. I don't care what you have been told. It is a divine gift. It is beautiful in every way, shape, and form. For all of you that are married and have a beautiful, healthy, loving relationship, that's fine. Good. Enjoy your sexual any excuse me, enjoy your sexual energy. Is there anything too kinky? Nope. You do what you want to do and how you want to do it. Does not matter. I know this is going to super offend a lot of people in other places. Age does not matter. So, all of you think that there's pedophilia out there. I started at the age of 5. So, guess what? It doesn't matter. I entered the kingdom of heaven. Well, everybody does. So, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're married and you met someone outside of your marriage, you guys fell in love, had a beautiful, loving relationship, and you were sexually intimate. Beautiful. God is going, yay, good for you. Because if you think God says you're to only love one person your entire life, think again. He said no such things, none in any way, shape, or form. Judas Iscariot, from what I understand, he's still wandering the void. He still cannot forgive himself for what he did to Jesus. Even though Jesus forgave him before it even happened, Judas needs to forgive himself, and then he'll see the light and, you know, be with Father. But until he does that, he's going to wander the void. Um, so your sexual energy is defined, guys. Your masturbation is fine. It is beautiful. It's perfect. It's pure. Just don't watch pornography. You're not going to be judged by it, but it's a darker energy. And what is pornography? What's it run by? Your ego. Is your ego your friend? No, but that's going to be the upcoming video that I do, because we need to retouch the video on the ego. Pornography is run by the ego, so don't watch it. You can do whatever you want in your bedroom with your partner. Or if you're married and you step outside of that, that's just as fine. If two people meet randomly and you get it on and it's beautiful and it's you care, then that's just as beautiful too. Your sexual energy is divine. It is given to you by your Father. It is not to be dismissed. It's not to be shamed like the church does to you guys. All right? It is God given. Enjoy it. And that includes masturbation when you are alone with yourself. Now, some would say that your sexual fantasies need to be forgiven. In retrospect, they kind of do, because are they real? Your fantasies? No, because you're not with somebody. So that in essence needs to be forgiven in a way. But is it bad? No. I mean, if you're home alone and that's what you're using, then, you know, it is what it is. So, but there are so many things going around, and I'm going to be specifically speaking to the female vehicles that are watching this right now. You have been, and for, I do believe, our whole existence, well, not our whole existence, but for a very long time now, have been shamed into compliance. And what will I be talking about here? Your body. Your body is run by the ego. Ego created the body. It lives in the body. It thrives in the body, right? But many of you, and I'll give you one example. I was just having this conversation the other day with somebody. She asked me, is like, I'm tired of shaving. I don't want to shave anymore, but my husband will leave me. Well, let him leave you, I said. Let him walk right out the door. And she says, why? I said, it's your body. Do you have hair on your body? Yes. Who put the hair on your body? I did. Do you like it? Yes. Then you need to work on you. But you guys have been shamed into compliance to do something against your will when you, and I'm just talking about body here right now, you created your body. You put body hair on your body, but you've been told it's ugly. You've been told it's disgusting. You told, well, I won't go out with you if you don't shave this, this, and this. Well, I'm sorry, but when I told you before, you guys needed to work on you. You come first. If that's the way you need to be, and you're okay with your own sensuality in your own body, right? Then keep it. And if that partner decides to leave, see ya. I wouldn't bother waiting for the door to hit you in the butt on the way out. Bye-bye. But you've been shamed into compliance. Now, I'm sure many of you in your own head are thinking, God, you know, that would save me 45 minutes in the shower every day. Well, you know what? Be you. All right? Don't be ashamed of yourself. You are all beautiful. You are all perfect. And you are all created perfect. And that is how your Father sees you, as perfect. Now, if you're in a relationship, whether it's marriage or whether it's just a regular relationship, all right? If it's beautiful, you guys enjoy yourselves. Nothing what you would call is too kinky. It's love. Love is everything. When you want to explore each other and be with each other, it is beautiful. Don't think anything other than that. It is beautiful. It is a way to connect to home for both of you. That's beautiful. That's the most beautiful partner you could possibly have. What do you want to do? Do you want to shave, or do you want, no, I don't want to. Then don't shave. Don't shave. That is completely up to you. But you've been shamed into compliance because it's gross, it's this, it's that. I don't like you that way. Well, then you don't belong being with me then. Bye. Right? So, in that respect, you guys need to focus on you. And again, I'm talking to the females that are in here right now or will end up watching this video. You guys need to worry about you, right? Not your partner, not your children, not your mommy and dad, not anybody else. You didn't come into this physical existence to worry about them. You came here to work on you, to experience you in the now. And part of that, as you have known since the time you were able to touch yourself and know that that feels good, is part of your experience in the physical realm, is your sexual energy. But you've been denied that throughout your entire existence, from the time you were a little child, when you began to explore your body, right? Wow, that feels good. And then you got yelled at, screamed at, given the dirty eye. Get out of here. I don't want to see you do that. Get into your room. That's disgusting. right? Wrong. It is beautiful. It is pure. And remember, you as a child, if there's anybody out here that's new moms or will watch this as a new mother, do not do that to your child. Do not. Our society is suffering from a sensual identity crisis. They don't even know who they are because of religion, because of our worthless government and society that shames people into compliance. From the time you are 5, 6 years old, you are shamed into compliance. It is wrong. Your father wants you to understand how wrong it is. Don't do that to your children. They have chosen all over again to forget who they are so they can re-experience finding out who they are. And part of that process is their sexual energy. You all have it that are watching me and will watch this. You have it. You desire it. You want that connection with somebody, that special somebody. And whether that somebody comes from your marriage or whether you're married and you step outside your marriage, it doesn't matter to your Father. It doesn't matter to Jesus. Love is everything. And that connection is vital. And most of you understand that. You resonate with it deeply, but you've been shamed for however old you are into that it's dirty and disgusting. You shut and lock the door. You're quiet. And if the kids walk in, you freak out and you cover up. And what are you doing? No, your father wants to know why you're covering up. Why did you stop making love? Because the kids walked in. You are showing them, training them to believe that your sexual energy is disgusting and gross, and it's something to be ashamed of. It's not. And you all know that. So stop. It's like when you're getting out of the shower or you get done making love and you walk out and dad's still erect, right? Why are you hiding? You have nothing to be ashamed of. You're created in your Father's image. And that's what I told you. Why are we wearing clothes? Number one gripe with Father. Why are you wearing clothes? You're all ashamed of yourself. Why? Well, that goes back into the ego, right? So everybody take a deep breath and relax and remember how beautiful you are, how perfect you are, how beautiful your body is, no matter what it is. It is beautiful to your Father. It is nothing to be ashamed about. Not now, not ever. And that is one of the biggest gripes about highly advanced beings. They don't wear clothing. They look at us and laugh. Why are you so modest? What are you ashamed of? Right? And that's part of it. And then it runs into, you butting heads with the ego and society. So be true to who you are is what I'm trying to say. And that comes with anybody that wants to be, I don't want to use the wrong terminology, transgender, right? Are they any different? No. Maybe they're having a midlife crisis. They don't know, all right? Are they experiment? It's their body. They can do what they want. But yet they're beaten. They're beaten damn near to death and humiliated and disgraced. We've got to stop this. And it's part of what we have had growing up, being ashamed of who you are. And you have nothing to be ashamed of, guys. Nothing. All right? You do not have to cower to your partner in anything. It is your body. It's your vehicle. Be proud of it. It's not what I've heard some terminologies. Well, having hair is unhygienic. Are you kidding me? Then, I guess what, 5 billion men are unhygienic because we have hair on our legs, on our armpits, and our crotch? Really? No. You've just been trained that way. Same thing with everything else. It's not. It's put there for a reason. But you've been shamed into compliance to do those things. So don't. Be open with yourself. Be true to yourself is really what I'm trying to get at here. Your sexual energy should not be suppressed. Energy cannot be destroyed, right? It cannot be destroyed. And you know it as what? You'll see a couple fight. And that comes down to those restrictions being placed on that soul. A soul is limitless and boundless to everything and anything. It does not like restrictions. And that is where the fights come in. Eventually, sooner or later, with all the, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, I'm not doing, pretty soon the fight's on, right? And then why did our marriage break up? Why did this happen? We don't like restrictions. And we are constantly being restricted. And in your own relationship, it comes down, well, I'm Catholic, well, I'm Jewish, or I'm Arab, I'm a Muslim. And just like that, the fight's on. Spirituality brings together, religion divides. Same thing with your sexual energy, right? If one is very open with theirs and true to it, and the other one is growing up like I had to grow up Catholic, being this and told I'm worthless and I'm a sinner in this, eventually you're going to clash. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can be transferred, but it'll come out in a fight. And most of you in your relationships, in some point or some way, shape, or form, have had that happen. Why? You were taught wrong. So now I'm telling you to open yourselves up. Be free. Be loving, right? Don't be restrictive. Don't be judgmental. Be open and true to yourselves. You come first. Period. The reason I chose this topic today because I've had a lot of people come up to me and I've overheard a lot of conversations, and they were all negative based on their own sensuality. A lot of women being frustrated, a lot of men being frustrated because you're butting heads. And that's because you've been placed with all these limitations, and eventually it'll come out in a fight, right? So let's try and avoid these fights and be true to ourselves. That's where dating comes in. I'm not just talking 1 week, 2 weeks. I'm not talking 3 or 4 months. I'm talking a year. Okay? Date each other for a year. Make love for a year. Find out if you are truly compatible. Things will come out in the wash during that time. You will know. The red flags will come up. Your intuition will kick in. Man, this ain't right for me. I do care for you, but you know what? And I can't do that. And then move on. That's okay, right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's what your Father wants to see. He's not saying that you should sit there and hold each other and just love one person. Wrong. I love all of you, no differently than my children, right? And my daughter was telling me, my 18-year-old, she hasn't been intimate yet. And I said, you have every right to go out and find a boyfriend and explore your body and enjoy yourself. Just make sure it's compatible. No is a full sentence. Respect him as he respects you. Now, I don't care what you do. Stand on your head in a tree and do your thing. I don't care. But you have that right to go explore. That's what you came into this physical realm to do, to grow, to evolve, to experience things. Guys, don't do those things. It will hamper you. It will frustrate you. It'll make you mad. And many of you are biting your teeth every day because you're unhappy. Of course you're unhappy. You're being forced into doing something against your will. It's your will. You came here for you, guys. All right? So be true to yourselves. Above anything else, be true to yourself. And love yourself. And remember that when you look in that mirror, that you are absolutely beautiful. You are perfect, just the way your Father made you. And you have nothing to be ashamed of at all when it comes to your sexual identity and your sexual energy. It is perfect. I don't care if you're into same sex. I don't care if you're bisexual. I don't care if you're heterosexual. It's all perfect. If it's agreed upon and it's in a loving way to your Father, it is beautiful. End of subject. So I will leave it at that. It was a rant that I wanted to go on now for about earlier this week. And it was a topic that is still very touchy around everybody, their sexual and identity. And now with Pope Francis dying, right, who was kind of a groundbreaking pope when he said there's nothing wrong with homosexuality, and then he backtracked, as long as it's in the context of marriage. Well, he's covering his ass, because he already knows that there's nothing wrong with homosexuality or same sex. There's nothing wrong with it. God sees nothing wrong with it. Jesus sees nothing wrong with it. And again, I will state, love is everything. Period. Love conquers all. Light crushes the darkness. We are all one. So in a way, it's kind of like all incestual anyway, right? There's only one, God is. And if we're all God, well, then we're all having sex with ourselves. So there's nothing wrong with it. So to all you boo-pooers out there, get over it. And if that offends you, well, then go watch another channel, because I'm a no bullshit channel. I will tell you how it is. That's beautiful. Yeah, I've had my near-death experience, so the love of my father for me was something that I cannot ever describe to you. Any of you will never understand the love that exists and who we are. If you did, you would not be doing the things that you would be doing. You'll be doing God's will and not God doing your will. But as I have found my twin flame, you are right. There is no other love like your twin flame. There is none. It's you finding your own consciousness, the other half of your own consciousness, right? So it's you finding your true self in the form of the opposite, meaning male or female, right? So that's why it's so complete. That's why it is something that you cannot explain when it comes to a twin flame, because you are literally, when you find your twin flame, you're finding the other half of your own consciousness. That's why they mirror you, right? Because it's them finding the other half of their own consciousness, and you're mirroring them, and that, them. So that's why it's so profound when you find a twin flame. So again, enjoy your own sexual energy. It is beautiful. It is pure. And I don't care what you guys do. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. It really bugged me that she was so upset that she had to continue to modify her body to please her partner. This is going to offend a lot of you. And if that's the case, bye. But if my partner said that, I would have went, well, there's the door. Goodbye. You'll divorce me over this without question. I come first. Goodbye. Leave. Take your stuff and go. You come first, guys. Don't ever forget that. Okay? Every single day when you wake up, it's a new day for you to improve yourself, to improve how you interact in your dream. And the first thing I do is ask Jesus, how do you want me to perform whatever miracles you want of me today? Father, thank you for another day. I am beyond grateful. And then when I walk out the door to go to work, I walk out and I forgive the world because it's not real. And I forgive myself for believing in it. Those are the first things I think of every day in the morning. All right. And then I accept my own sexual energy, my own desires, even though I haven't been in a relationship in, 10 years. But still, it's mine. I accept it. I own it. And I have no questions about it. So, anyways, enough of the rant. Guys, got any questions for me? There's only 3 of you here today. But the weather's getting nice, so I figured more and more people would be out and about and enjoying the weather, so that's fine. You talk about the ego. The ego's been on my mind too. You got to remember when it comes to the ego that your ego is not your friend. All right. When you made a pact to come here into this physical world, not just this incarnation. Paula, how do I protect myself from other people's energy? I am like bloating paper, and I get exhausted, and I still can't live like a hermit. I love living like a hermit, but I know my father wants me out and about. What you have to do is just ignore them. Remember that that's just another Paula. That's just another version of yourself. All right. And if you're in a higher vibrational state than they are, what are they going to do? It's like a vampire. They want to suck off your energy. Why? Because it feels good, right? You're vibrating higher in the frequency of love, which is good. That's where you want to be. Keep climbing that ladder. But understand that it's okay to say no. Say, get away. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I forgive you, whatever in your head, whatever you got to do, and just leave. Okay? Just leave that situation. If it's at work, ignore that person at work. There's nothing wrong with that. And if they get offended by that, then that's something that they've got to deal with, hon. All right? Just go out and be you. Focus in on you. And if there's something that's irritating you, somebody that's bothering you, leave. Go somewhere else, right? It may not be convenient for you, but sometimes if you're at a park, you may have to move 4 benches down or move to another side of the area, right? To be by yourself. Or if you're with your partner or your lover or whatever, right? Find a place that works for you. Don't let them get to you. What do you have to do? Forgive them. It's just another version of yourself, hon. Remember, everybody here is you. So when somebody's offending you or getting in your face, just say, hey, you know what? When I see that happening to me, it's just like, you know what? You go do you. Best of luck to you. I forgive you and move on. Right? And that's how I deal with stuff like that. I will not let people leech off of me. I can be out in public. I can be around people for a certain amount of time. And then it's it. I'm done. Like when my daughter wants to go out for a meal or whatever, and we're out or we're around in a space or a group, and we'll both say, all right, I've had enough. We're done, right? Protect your energy, protect your vibration, but forgive them and do it in a loving way. Just don't shit on them, because that's what the ego would do, right? The ego attacks, condemns, and judges. We don't do that. We love and we forgive. But that's a very good question. It really is. And just remember that that is just another version of you. So when somebody cuts you off in traffic, instead of flipping them off and verbally abusing them, just, say, hey, all right, clearly you need the space more than I do. I forgive you, right? Because it matters what you do. They're watching. Remember, there's nothing that you can escape from down here. Nothing you can hide from. So when they see you doing that, they're saying, she's getting it. She's getting it, right? And that's when you send out those ripples into the universe, into the non-physical, because now it's affecting your other lives, future and past. Remember, it's not linear, it's horizontal. So the more you forgive and you start compacting your lives, and you will shorten your incarnations through forgiveness. It is vitally important. So take a deep breath, step back, say, okay, all right. Okay. Like I had to a couple times today coming home from work. I had a job interview. I left work early at half a day, and I was like, really? Really? I was like, all right, all right. All right. Okay. I forgive you. You do your thing, and then move on. And it's the same with your sexual energy. If somebody says, well, you're gross, okay, great. You know what? That's you. I wish you the best of luck. Okay. Or, those jeans make you look fat. Oh, well, thanks. Okay. You know what? Hey, good luck. Good luck on your journey. Best of luck. I forgive you. And move on. Okay? Quit taking things so seriously. Remember that all of this is a dream, but what you do in the dream is important. In that dream was what Jesus was teaching you was about forgiveness. Forgive them. Or when he said, love your enemy. Oh, how convenient is that? I'm sorry. He murdered my son and he killed my mom. I'm to love him? Yes. Yes, you are. And you are to forgive them. Why? They are you. We are all one. And that's a very tough concept for you guys to understand. And I'll give you this. Tonight, before you came on live with me, right? What you're seeing behind you and me didn't exist until you created it. So when you woke up in the morning and you opened your eyes and you saw your bedroom, it didn't exist until you created it and then you came into it. And as I've always told you, you guys, you misunderstand how powerful you are. This did not exist until you came on here and you created it, right? You're still dreaming. So all of this did not exist until you created it, guys. So when you wake up and you get ready and you walk out into the world and you see the trees and the cars, that did not exist until you just created it. That's as insane as it can get, but it's true, right? When you're pulling around the corner to get into your job, that didn't exist until you created it and put it there. It's just not sitting there like a domino city, right? No. The moment you leave, it disappears. It doesn't exist until you create it. That's how powerful you guys are. What else you guys got for me? I got a cotton mouth. Small group tonight, but that's all right. Like I said, the weather's getting better and better. So what else can I talk about? I've been on a little hiatus. I've been reading two different books. I've been reading A Course in Miracles, and I've been reading and studying up on my root chakra. It's a book called The Seven Chakras, and that's where you really need to work on your root chakra. It has to do with abundance, money, health, everything. If your root chakra, which is down in like your groin area, your pelvic area, it's a big bundle of red energy. It's a ball of red energy. And if that's blocked, you're going to have a very difficult time. So I've been really studying on that, finding meditations on that, working on that to unblock my root chakra, because I think that's where I'm stuck. Those things wouldn't have popped up in my streams if they hadn't. So if you guys are struggling with money, I'll be the first one to just say that I am. That's probably the reason why is your root chakra. So I've been really working on that, and I'm going to be really working on it every day. Like, I've been so tired because for a year and a half, I've been getting like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. And then finally, about 3 months ago, I crashed hard. I've been very hard to get out of bed, and I really wore myself out. So I have to do this really strategically and beautifully to get myself back into a everyday rhythm. And it's only a 10-minute thing, so I can wake up at a normal time and do it and not have to worry about being up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and then never being asleep. So I've been working on my root chakra. All right, throw something out there for me, guys. Anything, it doesn't matter. I had my little rant. So, and again, I was speaking to most of the females in this, the females vehicles in this. Be true to yourself. Do not be ashamed of yourself at all. You are beautiful, all natural, if you know what I mean. So What you got? I can roll into something else. Let's see. When Jesus was talking about, let's talk about Jesus. That's a good idea. Jesus did not want to be, or did he care about being a Jew? All right. He saw no purpose in religion in any way, shape, or form. So from the time he was young, he was being divinely guided. Meaning young is we don't know much about his life while he was a young boy or teenager, even into his early 20s. But what I do know, Ronald, there he is. That's all right, brother. You can listen to it again. I was talking about sexual energy in the beginning, how beautiful it is. It is God given. It is your right. Do not be ashamed of it at all in any way, shape, or form. Whatever you want to do with your partner doesn't matter. And I've said this about the age thing. Do not, when you say, oh, a teacher abused a student, he was 15 years old. Really? It takes two. And if the student is saying yes, well, guess what? In Father's eyes, it is absolutely beautiful. So I talked about sexual energy, talked about body shaming, which is Father does not like to see. And mostly I'm talking about the female vehicles being shamed into compliance, having to shave their bodies and alter their bodies because the male vehicles deem it necessary in order to be in a relationship, which is, you know, not very nice. So, but Ron, good to talk to you. Good to see you, buddy. So I encourage you when this is over just to go watch it. I went on a rant for a little bit. So let's talk about the real Jesus. So when Jesus is in his early 20s, let's talk about this. Mary Magdalene was Jesus's wife, period. She was not a whore. She was not a drunk. She was not a prostitute. She was his beloved. He loved her. And still to this very moment, in the moment of now, they cherish each other. Even though they are both enlightened and at home, their relationship can never be a physical one. Beautiful, buddy. They adore each other. And that is that. So when they met each other in their early teen or late teens, 20s, they snuck out and they would go into the woods and the trees, and they would sit in nature for hours and talk to each other all day, be with each other. And I'm sure sexual intimacy took place. He was a master. He was a master in the tantric arts as well. They loved each other, right? And then in his late 20s, and Jesus saw nothing in marriage. He saw no value in marriage whatsoever. And he was, in Jewish law, you really got married at a young age. That was, especially millennia ago. I don't really know or care what Jews do now in these days, whether they get married younger or older or whatever. I could care less. But back then it was considered, wrong if you would marry late, like in your late 20s, early 30s. That was really a big no-no in society back then, especially in the Middle East. Remember, Jesus was a black man. Hey, bud. So then Jesus, he had to go on a trip. All right. And as I talked about the real Jesus in my video, Jesus left Mary for, I think it was 3 years. All right. He had to go on this trip, and he traveled across North Africa. Now, you remember when they left, or when he left, there was no cell phone, there was no calling, there was no texting, there was no writing letters, right? When he left, Mary, she didn't know whether he was dead 2 days later or would ever come back. Now, could you imagine if your spouse or your betrothed was gone for 3 years and there was no contact whatsoever, what your mind would do? The fear, the abandonment issues and all of that would take place. And Mary went through all of that. She pitched a fit, threw a fit, pouted for weeks and a month, stayed in her room and pouted. So as Jesus traveled across North Africa, right, He was traveling to the east, where he learned from masters in India on how to meditate, on how to go within and find oneself, to quiet the ego, to connect to Father, to connect to the right mind and the Holy Spirit. Why the East? Because they have been doing it there for millennia and millennia. All right. So as Jesus traveled across North Africa, he would run out of money and he would have to stay in a certain area for a certain amount of time and work. I mean, he worked the docks. He worked loading ships. He repaired things. He built latrines, lavatories, bathrooms. Right? He did what it took to get some gold and silver. Right? He'd save it up, and then he would pick up another caravan and move on to the next oasis, and so on and so forth, until he got to the Middle East. Then he learned for 2 years. He studied intensively with the masters over there in the East, right? And then when that time was over, what did he do? He traveled back across North Africa, doing the same thing on the way home. He would have to stop if he ran out of money. He needed food, needed a place to sleep, all cost bling, right? So he would work the docks again. He would build things. He would do things. He was a carpenter. He made things. So he would work with his hands. He was a grunt. He went to work, and then he would travel home. And then one day he walked back into the village where Mary was, and Mary ran to him and gave him a few solid good punches. And shortly after that, they were married. They had children. And then Jesus started his teachings. He went on his, what you know as, we know him as Jesus Christ. And then, and I don't remember what day it was, he was told that he needed to be baptized. And Jesus was like, why? For what? I said, why? There was a purpose. There was a reason behind it. He saw nothing in it. Still, he sees nothing in religion. And as I told you from my very first near-death experience, when I told my NDE, God does not give a rat's ass about your religion, could care less about it. Jesus is the same way, could care less. So when he went and got baptized in the River Jordan from John, his cousin, and when he was plunged underneath the water is when his enlightenment occurred. And I think he was around 30 years old when that happened, right? He became enlightened in that moment. He was zapped with so much energy. And when I'm telling you the energy that you truly are, it is mind-blowing. When I left my body and I was ensconced and all that, and I told you I was juiced, I was like, whoa, it's an enormous amount of energy. On the other side, you vibrate so high. You are just vibrating so high. So he's zapped with all of this, right? And he comes out jerking like a leopard, he's like, and he wanders off into the, off to the shoreline and into the tall reeds and trees, right? Why? He couldn't go home. Could you imagine if he was walking down the street and he's jerking around like this, and having all these epileptic seizures? The townspeople would have stoned him for ignorance. They would have thought he was possessed by a demon and they would have killed him. He knew that, so he wandered off into the woods and sat there. And that is when the beginning of the battle took place. And you'll know this in the Bible when I tell you this. So as John got done baptizing everybody, Jesus stayed there. He stayed hidden. And you know this in the Bible as he wandered the desert for 3 weeks, being tempted by the devil. Not the devil, guys. He began to do battle with his ego. The ego is your devil. He is not your friend. He's hell-bent on keeping you hidden from God. He's hell-bent on taking over God. And he is maniacal, evil, twisted, angry, hateful, spiteful. He attacks, condemns, and judges, and I can go on and on. And that is what what Christian said. Well, he was doing battle with the devil. No, he wasn't. He was doing battle with his mind. He was beginning to close the gap in his mind, right? We have the wrong mind, the ego, and we have the right mind, the Holy Spirit, your higher self. He was now doing battle with the ego, and he was beginning to crush. It still took him 3 years. And if any of you have seen the movie The Passion of the Christ, at the end of the movie, when they're in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? And you see Jesus standing there and he's sweating profusely and he's calling on his Father because he's terrified. And you see this cloaked guy with just the white, really pale white. And Jesus says, "You hold no power over me." And he looks down, he sees the snake, and he stomps on it. And then you see what you think the devil is being thrown into hell. No, guys, that is Jesus's ego. He killed his ego when he said, "You hold no power over me." He took control of his mind and he merged into oneness. Period. That was the death of his ego. 2 weeks later, he was crucified. All right? Jesus didn't have to get crucified. He could have ran and hid. He had free will, just like you and I do. What's this? Hey, Jason. Okay. What's this? Hey, Jason, I posted a request for a video, 2 comments up. What'd you do? Where is it, bud? All I see is the one on, what is it? I don't see you up there, bud. Repost it for me. So that's where Christianity wants to keep you frightened and in fear. You have no devil. The devil does not exist. Okay? It is simply, they're taking the ego and turning it into a lake of fire. When I told you that though I walked through the valley of the shadow of death, I should fear no evil, right? Well, it's 2 valleys in Israel coming together where the fires of Gehenna took place. So it's the valley of Gidra or something. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up again. But it's right there on the outskirts of Old Jerusalem back millennia ago, where these sacrifices were taking place in this eternal dump. When Jesus said, "How would you like it if your bodies burned for all of eternity?" Knowing full well that it wasn't crap, but it was a physical statement of how would you like it, right? So it was in that area. And if you go and look at the map of Jerusalem, you can see the 2 valleys come together. And that is where the fires of Gehenna were. And that's where that statement came from. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, because evil does not exist. Jesus had his head on straight. And that's why he talked in parables, because 1, he had to worry about the Romans because he was living in a land occupied by Romans. And they had no tolerance for anybody but themselves, right? And second, the religion at the time, Judaism, the Pharisees, they had the power to kill. And Jesus what he was teaching is what I'm teaching, was revolutionary. What is this? Evil is live? Jay Telkenwire, repost what you wanted me to talk about. Evil is live. What does that mean? All evil is you doing battle with your own ego. The ego is not your friend. That, in essence, is evil. All right? But that's your mind. Remember, the moment you took on consciousness, guys, and consciousness is duality, your mind split. This is not your mind. This is your brain. This is your CPU. These are not really your eyes. That's what's being projected out in front of you from your dream. Dream comes in, you trying to process it, and out it comes, right? So when your mind split in that moment, you not only created the Big Bang, the universe, as your hiding place to hide from God, but it also created all your lives that you, from your first life to your enlightenment, was created in that Big Bang. And every time you rise in frequency and up you go, you are literally climbing into another dimension. And each time you do that, you create another Big Bang. And all your lives are created. And the ones that you don't have to relive anymore, that's what I mean. You keep compacting your lives until your enlightenment. Let's see here. It's a revert image and meaning of the word evil and live. Yep. Okay. So again, it is important, and that is where forgiveness comes in. So when you're seeing something, when you're watching, let's say, the war between Ukraine and the Russians, and you see dead bodies, or you see a tank fire and blow up and kill those people inside, or you see a gunfight take place and you see somebody get shot and killed, and you're saying, oh my God, that is evil, that's horrible. That's judgment. We are not to judge. But what the Holy Spirit sees is a cry for help, right? They don't see it as evil or wrong. They see it as a cry for help. So you have to look at it that way. And why is that happening? Because that person is projecting their unconscious guilt and their fear onto that other person. What is their unconscious guilt? They stepped away from oneness. Remember in one of my videos, I said, where did fear come from? Where did we incorporate fear into our lives? Because we didn't come here to suffer. We didn't come here to live in fear. We created that. The moment we stepped away from Father, we think we abandoned our Father. And it terrified us because it's all we have ever known. And in that moment, it created fear, guilt, and the ego. Remember what I said? So in essence, the universe is our hiding place from Father. We think we're pretty sneaky, hiding in a make-believe universe that doesn't exist because it's all holograms. It's like the movie The Matrix. When you see it all in green lines, that's what Father sees. He doesn't see a universe because it's not there. It's all in your mind at home. And that is why you're literally, quite literally, insane. Every single one of us. Mostly you guys, because you don't understand. I know what's going on. I choose the right mind. I no longer look into the dark glass of the ego. And every time I feel myself slipping in that way, no, I forgive myself. And I choose the love and the light and the forgiveness. I choose to hold no grievances. I refuse to. Paula, how do people energy travel? Is it in a... No, you leave your body every night. Every time you truly fall asleep, okay? Remember, there's nothing inside this body. Okay, there's nothing inside this meat suit, right? If you've seen Star Wars, any of you have seen Star Wars, when you saw Anakin at the end, or you saw Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And you saw the glow around him, right? Around his whole body, that's your soul. That's what I saw in my near-death experience. When I saw through the walls, I could see the whole grass, the whole field, all the trees, right? And that is what each blade of grass was in constant. All the trees were in constant, that light energy. That was their soul. And that is what your soul does. Your soul encases you. It envelops you like a bubble. And it's only one soul. It's Father, who split, like, remember when I told you about the crystal ball and it drops and it shatters? That's all of us, but it's still tethered to the one thing, which is Father. He just splits those up into different bubbles, still attached to him. We're all one. All right. So when they leave, when your body falls asleep, your body needs sleep. Your soul does not. Your soul detaches from your body and you go home and you astral travel and help others, help friends, see friends, go into different dimensions and go do all kinds of things. Now you can focus on that. There's ways of doing that. And I work on it at night now. Every night I go to bed, I'll listen to certain music. And right now it's chakra music, but it's helping with the frequency helps with that. And you lay perfectly still, kind of like in an X, palms out, and you get yourself to the verge of sleeping. And then you will finally start to feel yourself vibrate. Not want to say violently, but pretty intensely, right? And it's at that moment if you can imagine yourself a rope right here that you climb, you just simply leave your body and you do it, but you really have to focus on it, and it takes some time. So I'm still working on that right now. But you astral travel the moment you fall asleep. Your soul detaches from this meat suit and it's gone. And if some of you have ever experienced, which I have, sleep paralysis, well, all of a sudden you woke up and you can't move. You cannot move. The only thing you can do is move your eyes, and it's really freaky. That happened to me in my early 20s. And I woke up and I couldn't move. I saw a bedroom, and then all of a sudden, I was terrified. I was like, what's going on? And then I fell back to sleep, and then I got up and I jumped up out of bed when I woke up, and I'm like, what was that about? That's sleep paralysis. What happened is my body woke up before my soul came back. Okay? Your body can't do anything without your soul being here to tell it what to do, to do the things that you do. So you leave your body every night. That's why when you see babies sleeping, they're not in there. The body is asleep. They're gone. They're back home with their overlord. They're back with Father. They're back with Yeshua. And, they're terrified. That's why babies sleep so much. They're terrified. They left all that is, all they've ever known, again, to come into this shit show that we call life, right? So really mind the ego, mind your thoughts. And I will keep dumping this into your skulls, guys. Your thoughts create your reality. Be mindful of your thoughts. When you're unhappy, angry, mad, upset, and somebody pissed you off at work, take a step back. Go outside, grab some air. People say, where are you going? Say, turn, I'll be right back. Deep breath. Look out and say, you know what? I forgive this. I forgive everything that I see. I forgive him. It's just a dream. This is just a dream. And then forgive it, and then come back in. You'll always remember them. And when you go home, you'll see them again. So don't think that that you don't ever see your friends or relatives again. Everything. When you leave this body, when you go and dream, right? It's you leaving this physical realm. Okay? When moment your soul leaves the body, you're in another dimension. So is it possible? Of course it is, because what's on the other side is real. All of this shit is not. It's simply a dream. So absolutely. You still meet with your family and friends. If you had an ex-wife or a lover, and when you go home at night, sure, you see them without question. You go and do. Remember, free will doesn't stop when you go home. Father created you with love, power, energy. In his image, you are little versions of him. Nothing is different between you and your father. Nothing. And when you go home, you still have free will. That's why people have different near-death experiences, right? Let's get into that real quick before this ends. Wow, that was an hour. Damn. One, you have a personal near-death experience. Or I'll start with mine. All right. No, I'll start with what I said. Personal. This is where you see people that have beautiful near-death experiences, loving, beautiful, all of this. Then you'll see another have a what you call a hellish or a dark near-death experience. Your thoughts create your reality. If they're in a bad place when they're dying or whatever, then you're going to be in a bad place in your near-death experience. Why? You have free will. You're creating that. It's not, your free will doesn't end when you cross over. You still have your free will, right? So that's where you have a positive, a beautiful NDE, and then you have a dark negative one. All right. It's a personal near-death experience created out of free will. Second type, you get a common type of near-death experience where you'll be watching a near-death experience, right? And all of a sudden they die. They know it, right? They're not in the room. And all of a sudden they wake up and they're on the side of a mountain on a beautiful field full of beautiful flowers and grass and trees and a forest. Off in the distance, they can see a city, right? They're creating that, but it's a common one. And when they look at it, they see all kinds of other beings or souls around. They can't make them out, but they can see them, right? Well, that's a common one because those other souls, they can see this person too. So it's a common one where they join a bunch of other souls. That's the second type. Then you have what I had, my near-death experience. I was instantly one with the Father. I had nirvana. I had bliss instantly. No, where am I? What is this? I knew where I was. Oh, I'm being itchy. I know. I know. See, I'm telling them. I am. Man, you guys are making me itch. Okay, I know. So I had a nirvana near-death experience, one with the Father, instantaneous. I could see souls. I could see everything, feel everything, know everything. Everything happened at once. And I was in perfect unity with my Father, nirvana. A beautiful near-death experience. Why? Because I was crying out to my Father. And as I just mentioned to one of the people in here, I sent her a near-death experience and how sad Father is, actually, when we don't choose him. And as this person had this near-death experience, she was seeing all these rays of light, like sparks in a fire, come flying past her. And then she saw the ones flickering on the ground, and she says, why won't they come up to heaven with me? Why won't they come? And Father said, because they have not chosen me yet. And she could feel how sad Father was because of that. Father is affected by us. Remember, we are creating God every millisecond of the day, every single one of us. So until you open yourself up and you cry out to your Father, Father, please, I choose you, I love you, I accept you. He's hurting. He created you. He loves you unconditionally. All right, what do we say? I reposted 4 comments up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 up is Ronald Decker saying, could it possibly be real? Reverse Evil is live. And I posted a request for 2 videos up. There's nothing there, nothing there. Do you think that Judas Iscariot is still reincarnated in another form on this planet? There's nothing there, bud. I don't see anything. Ronald Decker. Yes, I just watched that yesterday. Wow. What was that, Ronald? What did you watch? We must have spoken telepathically, Jason, because earlier I thought I should ask this question and I forgot. And you, there you go. What do you say to people who say going to the light is a soul trap for reincarnation and that we should avoid the light and just keep? No, you're going to keep incarnating until you reach enlightenment. That's the pact you made with the ego. That's the pact that you made with Father. When you sign that contract, you will finish it out, period. It's not a soul trap. It's not incarnation. It is simply what you chose, and you will finish it. It has nothing to do with the soul trap. And until you can learn to forgive, to truly forgive, not just say I forgive, but to truly forgive. Her NDE that you just spoke about. Yes, that when I was watching that with her with the long hair, when she had the body image, right, problem, and she's taking all these diet pills for years that caused her death, even though hers was a little different than mine, what she was experiencing and talking about was exactly mine, right? Exactly mine. And I felt it reverberate through me. And as I sat there and listened to it, I was sobbing. And I was like, yes, yes, that was it. Coming Home. It's on Coming Home. And she was body shamed. And that's what I was talking about earlier in the video. 5 comments up then. Yeah, there's nothing there, but I don't see anything. So just message me with it and I'll talk about it, okay? But yes, it's a powerful. Keep rewatching it and listen to it intently. It is a beautiful near-death experience. And if that was the case, then when we talked about suicide before, when I talked about suicide, right? She was committing suicide the moment she started taking those pills and kept abusing them, right? Father doesn't want us drinking alcohol. Father wants us only drinking water because that's how our bodies are made to function. All right? So by her abusing those pills, it killed her. Now, according to the Bible, suicide is punishable through going to hell. Now, yet she leaves and is in constant this love and light and is adored by her Father. And she's made to put on the goggles, these huge glasses, and she can see her life. She can see everything, how it affected her and how it affects her Father in her relationship to him and in her life. And it was breathtakingly beautiful near-death experience. I watch it all the time and I cry all the time. So I encourage you to watch it. I can't remember her name, but I just can't. But it's called, the site where you go is called Coming Home. And you'll see her. She's in a brown suede jacket, beautiful long brown hair. And I encourage you to watch it. It's a beautiful near-death experience. And you will understand how we here in this physical realm affect our Father back at home. If you think he's just dancing around, he's sad. What we do affect him when we don't cry out to him, when we don't call on him and love him. It affects him. We create our Father every day in these suits that we're in. So be true to who you are, guys. Before I go, I will keep saying this. Your thoughts create your reality. Live in love. Live in forgiveness. Love your enemies because those enemies are you. When Jesus was being crucified, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. What that truly meant was, forgive their minds, Father. They're insane. They don't know what they're doing. They're lost. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Duality, consciousness, the pact with the ego, the right mind, the wrong mind. Quit looking into the wrong mind, the dark glass of the ego. Choose the right mind, the Holy Spirit, love, light, forgiveness. Call on your Father and love him, adore him, and be grateful. Because he loves you so much, it is inconceivable for any of you to understand. It is inconceivable. You have no clue the love and how fiercely loved and how fiercely protected you are. You will never understand that, guys. Never. Erica McKenzie, there you go. That's her. It's a beautiful near-death experience, guys. I mean, it truly is. You should watch it. And she committed suicide by taking these diet pills for 9 years. It killed her. And as she was driving, she collapsed. These people brought her into a church, and she went into the non-physical home like I did. She had a more in-depth, because that's what she needed to fully understand what she was doing, where I didn't. I knew, right? She was in this amazing story with Father, and Father was like adamant and firm with her. Put on the glasses. They won't put on the glasses. He was firm with her, but loving. Watch, he'd say, watch, right? And he showed her life from the time of her a little baby and being born, and this, and how loved she was by him, and how beautiful she was. And that is what I'm trying to say to all of you. And it came out in sexual energy today. Love yourself, love your body, be true to yourself, in constant in that love and light, and do not be ashamed of who you are ever. Call on your Father, love him, as I do every day. Every day. Buddy, there's nothing there. All I 2 comments up is 1, 2. Ronald Decker saying her NDE you spoke about. That's all that's there. There's nothing that's coming up, bud. I repeated it. There's nothing there. I'm sorry, buddy. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for showing up. I'm going to, well, if Telkwire here we'll see what his video is, and then that might be what I do next. All right, guys, have a blessed evening. Thank you for showing up. As always, I love you guys. Thank you for your love and support. I'm being bombarded with love. My nose itches. I'm on the right track there. Forgive, love, and forgiveness. Forgiveness is the end of your incarnations, no matter what has happened to you. Whether somebody caused you to lose your job, whether somebody caused you to lose your home, remember it's just a dream. Forgive them. Truly forgive them. For remember, they know not what they do. And forgive yourself above all. All right, guys? I love you guys. You guys have a blessed night. I love you truly, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for showing up, guys. I love you.